far from walking home, far from where it's safe. Hope it's not too late. Rush, rush, rush on you.
Hello, I'm Marjorie Hash and welcome to France 24's music show, which this week will be delving in some heavyweight album releases. But first, our guest today stems all the way from the Bay Area of the United States of America, where he began his career as part of the hip-hop collective Crown City Rockers. Over the last decade, he's been releasing solo material, and last March he dropped his first self-produced album, where he explores a variety of styles, and he's about to spend a month touring France. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Raashan Ahmad. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. So your new album is pretty amazing because there's so many different kinds of styles. You've got a bit of soul, jazz. It's very a big reminder of South American music. Yes. You've also got a little bit of a Senegalese tint and pure traditional hip hop. Was it consciously that you went into making such a varied 8-track album?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was very conscious. This is my first, like I said, self-produced album. And I kind of wanted to reflect the experience I've been having. I've been traveling the world, touring with different artists, touring with just by myself. And I kind of wanted to just input all of those experiences into the genre that I love most, which is hip hop.
Oh, well, let's check out one of the tracks from the album. It's called I Got Life.
Yes.
I got my soul, got my heart, got my back. Got myself. How about that? Life. Hey, I got life. Life. I got life. Hey, life. I got life. Life. I got life. Life that I live, got a lot to give, a lot that is. At times not a pot to piss, a lot to bliss. How I'm an optimist with all the just mayhem is so amazing. My celebration to every AM, fortified live with the incantation of my similar vibes to fly, the inability to feel everyone ever be out.
Raashan Ahmad's I Got Life, which you can find on his new album, The Sun. Apparently, you were super inspired by Gil Scott-Heron's style for when you were making this album. Yeah. Can you tell us how and why?
Absolutely. He's my hero, one of my heroes, but I always loved the way that he used his voice in so many different ways. He was a singer, he was a poet. Some argue he was even an MC. And so I was just really inspired to have their songs on here where I'm singing with my friend in Wolof, where I'm doing like spoken word poetry, and where I'm traditionally rapping. So I just wanted to explore using my voice in many different ways and telling deeper stories that really touched me all the way to my core.
And you were saying, talking about like Wolof, which is West African language. Your album really has this infused feeling from all over the world. You've got obviously West Africa, but you've also got a bit of France. You've got a bit of USA, obviously. Yeah. And you self-produced. So I read you just used your laptop and went around recording and meeting other artists.
Kind of, yeah. I used my my laptop and just. Just meeting folks. I think that especially during this time, like this crossing boundaries is something that I think is really important. And I just kind of want to show through my music that a lot of that is just imaginary lines in the sand and where we're really collectively just together. And I wanted to fuse that and make it into my music. And so, yeah, I had people from Austria to South America to Senegal to San Francisco all on the same track. And just kind of fusing all the styles together to make something I thought was original.
And you moved a bit there yourself, but you also had people send you tracks and you were able to exchange.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's the magic of the internet nowadays, has made the artists able to work in such a way.
I believe so too. And I think that a lot of the way that it worked with my album is I was on tour in a lot of these places. So a lot of these people I met, it wasn't just the internet. It was like a lot of really personal, intimate connections, really great conversations over good food. And, just a traditional way of meeting each other and then making music either organically in that moment or over the internet. So just a collective ways.
And talking of personal, your album is still very conscious because in terms of just the opening track, No, you talk about police discrimination of Black people in the US. But then you've also got more themes that kind of touch a lot of people that we will all face at one point. There's the one of grief.
Yes.
Every human being at some point faces it. Was it quite difficult kind of talking about this because you also talk about the fact, I think it's the breakthrough of kind of moving, not on, do we ever move on, but, working with it, I guess.
Absolutely. It's really difficult, but I believe that, I think Nina Simone has this quote, I wish I could remember, but it's something about the definition of an artist. And it is like using your voice to speak to, I think, those topics that affect so many people. And a lot of times I feel so isolated and lonely, but when I tell these stories, I realize I'm not. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a way to not only heal myself, but hopefully get other people to just kind of have these conversations, listen to music, know we're not alone. But it is, when I perform these songs live, it's always difficult to not cry on certain songs because it's so personal. And because of the way I like to have the balance of music and lyrics, sometimes it might sound like, oh, this is a happy song, but in the song I'm talking about something that really touched me to my core. So it's a challenge, but it's a beautiful one.
And you're coming to France now. You've just arrived in France a few days ago,
yes.
And you're going to be here for a whole month. What's it going to be like performing this album on stage? Because there's different styles, and what kind of musicians have you picked out for it?
Right. It's going to be great. I'm super excited. I have a host of different musicians from France. There's a person, some people that actually played on the album are going to be involved in the live show. So I start rehearsals next week, and I'm looking forward to actually finding out that question. That's one of my biggest joys is performing live, and I love it so much. So I'm looking forward to just translating it over.
And how do you think you've got a special bond with France, and where does that come from?
Yes, absolutely. I've been coming to France now, I'd say almost maybe 8 years about, and it's this country has really embraced me and just kind of shown me another side of experience that I didn't even know existed, just coming from the U.S. and my experience there to traveling to another place and being so embraced by the culture and the art. I can see why all my jazz heroes loved it so much here. And so I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, we're super excited to have you here. How about we check out some of the new releases that are out this week? I'm going to tell you about one of France's current favorite rappers and producers. He's called Nekfeu, and he's back with a new 18-track album that he decided to drop at the end of last week following the cinema screening only of his film Les Étoiles Vagabondes. This third album comes after the former S Crew member indulged in a short movie break in which he played amongst others opposite Catherine Deneuve for his new offering Feu, as he's also known, travelled to Japan, LA, New Orleans, and surprisingly collaborated with Vanessa Paradis. Now, although Nekfeu is doing extremely well for himself, and you could kind of argue that the rhymes are far superior to the likes of PNL, well, there's a huge sense of melancholy in this record, and he tackles subjects such as death, sexism, homophobia, and being the only white boy in his former rap collective, and therefore the only one the cops didn't stop, thus acknowledging his position of privilege. Here is the trailer of his film Nekfeu. That was Nekfeu there. Now, the Queen of Pop, Madonna, is back with her 14th studio album entitled Madame X. Now, she may be in her 60s, but she's still game for shaking things up with her trademark raunchy dominatrix references and very thought-out videos. One of them, which we're going to look at shortly, features a black transgender Joan of Arc. The singer says she found inspiration for the album in art and music from Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Brazil, and even France, although she's called upon exciting producers from all over the world. Musically, it still feels like she's a bit in a state of stalemate. In any case, I applaud the fact that at the beginning of one of her tracks, she says she will never be what society expects her to be. Go on, Madonna. Here she is with her new single, Dark Ballet, starring Mickey Blanco.
It's a beautiful life, but I'm not concerned. It's a beautiful dream, but a dream is earned. I can dress like a boy, I can dress like a girl. Keep your beautiful words, 'cause I'm not concerned. 'Cause your world is such a shame. 'Cause your world's obsessed with fame. 'Cause your world's in so much pain. 'Cause your world is up in flames.
And that was Madonna, an extract from her new album, Madam X. And that's it for today's show. A special thanks to my guest, Raashan Ahmad. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The album, The Sun, is out already, and you're going to be kicking about France for the next month. I think there's quite a few gigs. There's Paris, Marseille, Mont-Saint-Michel, and many others that you can go to, so go check it out. You'll find the info on the France 24 website, and you can also tell us what you think of the show and the music we played on the Encore Twitter, Facebook and Instagram pages. Now, the latest news is coming up in just a few moments on France 24, but we're going to round up today's show with an old white man. Now, don't worry, I promise he's very cool. Personally, I like watching and reading interviews of him, but I know a lot of you love his music. Yes, Bruce Springsteen is back this week with an album called Western Stars, and this track is Tucson Train. Let's check it out.
I got so down and out in Frisco.